Only on CBS2, a wild Westside shooting, and Mar Vista neighbors say it highlights a growing danger.
The gunfire happened in broad daylight right down the street from some homes.
And the shooters are still on the loose. CBS2's Tom Wade is live in Culver City with video you won't see anywhere else. Tom.
And Jeff and Pat, residents say this video proves that their lives could be in danger, and they say they want action now. A security camera trained on a homeless encampment captures a violent ambush. A car pulls up, one man gets out, charges into the encampment, and pulls a gun out of his shorts. Shots are fired. During the melee, another man gets out of the car. The attack is over in seconds, and the guys speed off. One person was hit. The violence all played out just a stone's throw from a neighborhood where young families live.
And we've become the victim here.
Crystal Chen and her neighbors say this shooting is just one of many violent incidents here at the encampment on Venice Boulevard near Sepulveda. They say the spot is also known for rampant drug use and other crime.
Just stay for 2 minutes. You could see a drug transaction, prostitution.
I've definitely found needles thrown over our fence a bunch. I've come home with people definitely passed out on drugs.
The encampment is in LA Councilman Mike Bonin's district. His office says they are constantly working with outreach teams to help the homeless and also are working with the LAPD to address crime. Neighbors say violence like this proves the encampment is dangerous and they want immediate action.
Obviously, this is very much a mental health issue that's going on that the city is not providing for, but then besides that, it's becoming a safety issue for everyone around here.
The man who was shot was taken to the hospital and was last listed in stable condition. It's not clear if that man also lived in the homeless encampment. As for the two shooters, they remain on the loose tonight. Reporting live in Culver City, I'm Tom Waite, CBS 2 News.
Developing news now. Dodger Stadium in the dark tonight. The power went out in the first inning during the game with Milwaukee. The DWP says some of its equipment failed. Backup power came on quickly, but the game was delayed 23 minutes.
Well, two robbery suspects in custody tonight after a chase ended in the Nickerson Gardens area of Watts. Sky 2 overhead as their car rolled to a stop, and then those two men inside ran off. This is not that video, but one tripped and a police officer captured him immediately. The driver kept running through a playground, we're told, but it was eventually he was taken into custody.
13 homes were damaged today in a brush fire that tore into an apartment complex in Santa Clarita. The fire broke out this afternoon at the Terrace apartment complex on Newhall Avenue near the 14 freeway. CBS 2's Rachel Kim is there live now with the latest. Rachel?
Well, Pat, some of the residents whose homes were damaged by this fire were home when the fire broke out. Others came home to discover what was going on as flames shot up these hillsides and came dangerously close to these apartments.
How to I don't know, it's speechless. Just like, it was scary. The flames were like super high. It was super hot.
Fierce flames shot up high on the hillsides and threatened homes in Newhall when this brush fire sent residents running.
We don't have time to grab anything, and we just ran out and then right into the street.
The 10-acre fire ended up damaging 13 homes, many of them at the Terrace apartment complex. The fire raged in front of Alex Castro Ruano's home.
Really, really scary because they were up. You can see them blowing. It was wind and flames.
Alex and his wife got out with their cat and they saw the magnitude of the heat from the flames.
The windows went, they blew up the windows, and some of the things that worked against the walls received some damage.
With water dropping helicopters above and firefighters on the ground, the flames began to lie down, and some residents came home from work to find out their home was damaged. Victor Nettles' focus was to find his dog, Max.
One officer said I could go. I ran up, and of course there was a lot of smoke, and so we were able to get our dog, and that's the only thing that we got. But the building next to us, actually, they had to cut the top of the roof off.
That was the roof of Juan Alvarez's apartment.
We're coming because we have a cat and dog inside, so that one cat is...
Your cat died?
Yeah, one.
Despite losing his cat, Juan, like many of these displaced residents, are grateful.
I'm happy because my family is fine.
The fire is now 85% contained. No civilians were injured. No deputies were injured, but 3 firefighters suffered minor injuries. We're also told an evacuation center has been set up at Golden Valley High School. Reporting live tonight in Newhall, Rachel Kim, CBS 2 News.
The devastating car fire in Northern California has killed 6 people. CAL FIRE says nearly 100,000 acres have burned. More than 1,100 homes and buildings have been damaged or destroyed. Another 5,000 are threatened.
Well, near Yosemite tonight, the Ferguson Fire has claimed the life of a second firefighter. Hotshot Brian Hughes died yesterday when he was hit by a falling tree. It has so far burned 56,000 acres and is 30% contained.
The Mendocino complex fire is actually 2 fires burning near each other in Lake and Mendocino counties. Combined, they have burned more than 55,000 acres and have destroyed 6 homes.
Well, the problems from the Cranston fire are just beginning for those living in Idlewild. Evacuees were very emotional today as they returned home to devastation. 12 homes destroyed, several other buildings damaged. At a town hall meeting tonight, neighbors warned about possible mudslides during storm season. And despite the losses, homeowners are thankful to firefighters.
Oh man, amazing, isn't it? And they're good guys and they know what they're doing.
But we're so grateful to everybody who worked on this fire.
Well, the Cranston fire is now 82% contained.
And CBS 2 News is back at 4:30 a.m. with the latest on the California firefights. And CBS This Morning has more live coverage starting at 7 a.m.
We need to be brave, and we need to not be so judgmental so quickly and think about the kids.
Nothing that talks about those of us who will live right around it and how it will change our lives. So I'm against it.
And now tonight, mixed reaction over a controversial plan to help the homeless.
Tonight, residents got their chance to voice their opinions on a proposal to convert a bus depot into a site for temporary housing in Venice. The shelter would accommodate as many as 100 people.
A co-owner of the Lakers is now hoping for a very big win with the LA Times.
Sports director Jim Hill got a rare sit-down interview with the billionaire philanthropist about what he has planned. Jim?
And you know, it's really kind of amazing. His vision is very, very clear. And when you think about it, the very talented Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong is co-owner of the Lakers and now the owner of the Los Angeles Times. But what he really loves doing is giving back to the community, as I found out today.
Jim, look, I grew up, it's not very well known, right, in the world of apartheid. I grew up in where I could not own property, did not have a voice, had to sit at the back of the bus, was a part of a quota. My ability now to give back and create what I call the voice of the people, the voice for the people, in which we can inspire the people, educate the people, inform the people, and actually be the speaker of truth, and truly be an arm of democracy. I don't believe that we would have lost apartheid were it not for papers in South Africa taking on a very strong position against the government.
You're able to talk about the LA Times, put it aside, talk about the Lakers, put it aside, talking about curing cancer, put it aside, talking about something else. And speaking of that, how close do you think you are now to curing cancer?
I'm excited to say we have now launched the first natural killer cell vaccine. And I'm excited to say I'll be presenting this data soon at some scientific conferences where pancreatic cancer, triple-negative breast cancer, head and neck cancer, we are way into these trials. And that we have some very, very exciting data around these patients. So I can touch it, taste it, feel it, just as you sort of say when you know you are not like on the 5-yard line. And we may be on the 10-yard line. And I really can touch it, taste it, and feel it right now.
Absolutely incredible, right? Dr. Soon-Shiong is also, of course, a fan of LeBron James for not only what he can do on the court, but what he does for the community. And Pat, when you think about him, think about both of these gentlemen. You know, they are gifts who have a gift.
Absolutely. And that was just breaking news there that Dr. Soon-Shiong was talking about cancer. I heard him say pancreatic cancer.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be in, those patients will be in trial.
And he's able to compartmentalize the different things that he does better than anyone I've ever met. And he's a wonderful man. He's going to do some wonderful things for our profession of journalism.
Yes.
And we're all going to be better off for it, I think.
Yeah, so talented on so many levels.
No question.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Jim. Well, still ahead. Hi there, Mars. You tonight at the Griffith Observatory as folks got a little closer look at the planet.
Plus, a group of thieves steals a shark from an aquarium and then rolls it out in a baby stroller.
I was supposed to be some kind of tough Marine, but I sat up and cried last night because I'm just so grateful.
And our Christine Lazari has the incredible ending to a 2 on Your Side story. How viewers and a famous actress rally to help a local veteran.
Hi, everybody. I'm Garth Kemp. Up. Here we go again. Some humidity for a little bit. We'll tell you about the forecast coming up.
Okay, Garth, thank you so much. And here's a look at the guest tonight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.